They say some places hold secrets no one dares to uncover. But what if those secrets never really leave? Stay with me, because this story will chill you to the bone. Love mysteries? Hit like and subscribe. You won't want to miss what's next. The forest greeted them with the hush of tall pines and the low breath of wind weaving through branches. The old cabin stood slightly tilted as if exhaling with exhaustion, aged timber sunken at the edges, moss creeping across the porch rails. It was Liam who unlocked the front door, the wood groaning in protest. "Place smells like wet bark and ghosts," Max muttered, kicking a dead pine cone aside as he followed the others in. Nicole gave a faint smile. "It smells like nature." Ava stepped past them, holding her duffel bag tight. "It smells like mold. Let's just open the windows. 4 friends, 1 cabin. 3 days of supposed peace." Inside, the walls were peppered with old family photos, strangers in faded frames. There was a dusty fireplace, thick rugs curling at the edges, and a single hallway leading to the bedrooms. The cabin had no electricity, just oil lamps and an old generator Liam was determined to fix. They each picked their rooms and unpacked in silence. The first night passed quietly, mostly. Nicole was the only one who heard the whisper. She sat up in her bed around 3 a.m. Heart thudding, a rustle, then a breath, then her name soft and crackling like wind through dry leaves. Nicole. She told herself it was a dream. "You look pale," Ava said the next morning, stirring powdered coffee in lukewarm water. Nicole hesitated. "I heard something. In the hallway, my name." "It's this place," Max said with a mouthful of cereal. "It's the vibe. Creepy family portraits. I swear one of them blinked." "Don't start," Liam muttered. He was squinting at the generator manual. Like it was ancient scripture, Ava looked back at Nicole. Her tone softened. "Do you want to head back? We can leave." "No," Nicole said quickly. "I want to stay, maybe just not sleep alone tonight." So that night, Ava stayed with her. They played old music on a Bluetooth speaker and talked about college, relationships, the weird summer they all met. Nicole eventually dozed off with her head on Ava's shoulder. At 2:41 a.m., Ava opened her eyes. Nicole was gone. It wasn't panic, not yet. Just confusion. They searched the cabin. The bathroom door creaked open. No one. The porch, empty. Ava found Nicole's shoes still near the bed. She wouldn't just walk off barefoot, Ava said. Liam joined her with a flashlight. Maybe she went to the lake. Max chimed in from the kitchen. If this is a prank, it's not funny. By morning, panic had fully arrived. They called her name until their voices cracked. They checked the small dock, the narrow trails, the old shed. Nothing. When Ava returned to the room, Nicole's phone was on the floor. Screen cracked, camera open. The last photo was of the cabin hallway, blurred, but something in the frame made Ava's stomach twist. There was a shape, humanoid, watching. They called the police, and hours later she arrived. Detective Eliza Quinn, a tall, dark coat even in summer, eyes too sharp for a sleepy town like this. She stepped onto the porch like someone measuring tension in the air. Which one of you saw her last? Ava stepped forward. Me, I slept beside her. She was there at 2 a.m. By 3 she was gone. Any fights? History of leaving like this? No. She's not like that. Eliza's gaze flicked across the group. Max shifted uncomfortably. Liam crossed his arms. The detective turned her head slightly, like she was listening to something beneath the wind. "We'll start with the room," she said. "Then the woods and then the photo." Max frowned. "What photo?" Ava met Eliza's eyes. The last one Nicole took, before she vanished. Eliza reached for the phone. "Show me." The forest stood quiet around them. But something was not still, not entirely. Something was watching. And it had waited long enough. Detective Eliza Quinn stood at the edge of the woods behind the cabin, phone screen glowing faintly in her hand. Nicole's last photo, blurry, shaky, but unmistakably ominous, showed a figure standing deep among the trees. Not just anyone. Tall, slightly hunched, almost like it had been watching, waiting. She turned back toward the cabin, boots crunching on dry leaves. The air hung heavy, humid from the storm earlier. No one spoke. Ava sat on the porch steps, arms wrapped around herself, red eyes fixed on the ground. Liam stood near the broken generator, as if pretending it still mattered. Max was pacing the living room like a caged animal. "Where exactly did Nicole take this photo?" Eliza asked, finally breaking the silence. Ava looked up slowly. "Out back." She heard something. We all did. A noise, like whispering or humming. She went to check. She said she'd be right back. "How long before you followed?" Eliza pressed. Max answered instead. "We waited like 15 minutes, maybe 20. She left her phone on the porch after snapping that photo, just tossed it like she panicked. She never goes anywhere without her phone," Ava added quietly. "That's the part that really scares me." Eliza nodded. "Did she say anything strange before she left? Anything at all?" There was a long pause. She said, "It stopped," Ava whispered. When we asked her what she meant, she just stared into the trees and said it again. It stopped. Like she'd been listening to something the rest of us couldn't hear. Eliza's gaze drifted toward the tree line again. Something about the way the forest curved inward. Shadows, pooling unnaturally between the trunks. It was like the woods were holding their breath. That night, no one slept. Eliza chose to stay in the cabin rather than head back to the local sheriff's office. "You don't need small-town paperwork right now," she'd told them. "You need someone who can look at things clearly, closely." At 2:13 a.m., Liam knocked on her door. "There's something wrong with the attic," he said simply. They climbed the creaky stairs together. He'd found the hatch above the hallway earlier that day, but hadn't dared open it. The ceiling panel hung crooked, like someone had forced it shut but never quite succeeded. Eliza pushed it open with her flashlight and climbed up. Dust danced in the beam like ash. The attic was narrow and long, filled with old furniture draped in sheets. Cobwebs, boxes labeled in faded marker, and in the far corner, scratches. Eliza moved closer. The wood was clawed, deep grooves dug into the beams, not animal scratches. These were deliberate, angry. Next to them, something had been carved into the wall, a single word. "Stay." She ran her fingers over it. Liam climbed up behind her, eyes wide. "That wasn't there when we explored earlier, I swear it." "You're sure?" He nodded. Eliza took out her phone and snapped a picture. "I don't believe in ghosts," she muttered, more to herself than to him. But it was clear, someone or something wanted them here, or wanted Nicole gone. Downstairs, Max was flipping through an old guest book they'd found on the coffee table. I thought this cabin was abandoned, he muttered as Eliza joined him. But it's filled with names, families, campers, college groups. The last entries dated 3 years ago. A couple wrote, "Wish we'd never come, left early, something was wrong here." No names. Just that. Eliza scanned the page, frowning. Any record of Nicole and her friends staying here before? No. And Liam booked this place through some shady off-grid site. No reviews, no real photos, just said, "Cabin in peaceful pines." Ava spoke from the kitchen. Nicole found it. She always wanted something disconnected, you know. Unplugged is what she called it. A digital detox. Max scoffed. Yeah, unplugged and gone. Eliza narrowed her eyes. You don't think this was random, do you? He paused. What? This place? This group? This weekend? Nicole chose the cabin. You all trusted her. But something drew her to this specific one, and we don't know why yet. Max looked at her, eyes tired but curious. You think she knew something? I think, Eliza said carefully. She might have found something long before she vanished. By morning they split up. Eliza took Ava and searched the woods. Max and Liam stayed behind to check the basement Eliza hadn't seen yet. We'll shout if we find anything creepy or corpse-shaped, Max muttered before disappearing below. The woods were silent. No birds, no breeze, just the occasional snap of a twig beneath their boots. Ava kept glancing behind them, like she expected Nicole to walk out from behind a tree, laughing, apologizing. She was my person, Ava said after a long silence. You, though? Like the one who gets you, the one who makes you feel less weird in the world. Eliza didn't answer right away. Did she ever talk about feeling watched? Ava blinked. Yes, actually. A couple months ago she started texting me about weird stuff. Said someone had been following her home. Thought it was paranoia at first. Then she stopped talking about it completely. Eliza looked at her sharply. Did she change anything? Her routines? She deleted her social media, Ava said. Said she wanted to go quiet for a while. They paused by a fallen tree. Just beyond it, Eliza spotted something glinting in the dirt. She knelt, brushing away leaves. It was a necklace, thin gold chain, a small charm in the shape of a crescent moon. Ava gasped. That's Nicole's. She never took that off. Eliza stood slowly. Then she was here recently. They both turned at the sound of footsteps, fast, frantic. Max burst through the trees. You need to come now. The basement smelled like rot and earth. The air was thick, too still. Eliza scanned. The room. Wooden beams, stone walls. A small rusted cot in the corner. But what caught her attention wasn't the furniture. It was the dozens of drawings pinned to the wall. Childlike sketches, crude, distorted. Each one showed the same scene. A cabin. Surrounded by trees. And just behind the trees, always, a figure. Watching some of the drawings had dates. They stretched back over 10 years. Liam pointed to the far corner. There's a trapdoor. Looks like it was nailed shut from above. Did you open it? Max shook his head. Didn't want to die in Act 2. Eliza walked over. Her hands were steady. But inside, she felt the same cold rising she had the night she found her first body on the job. This cabin was no random Airbnb. It was a snare, and someone had been using it. She forced the trapdoor open. A narrow tunnel stretched down into blackness. That night, None of them spoke much. Ava sat on the floor near the fireplace, clutching Nicole's necklace. Liam sipped from a mug of tea with shaking hands. Max paced, muttering to himself, "We're not crazy. This is real. This is happening." Eliza reviewed the drawings again. Whoever was here before documented what they saw, or what they thought they saw. "But where are they now?" Liam asked. Silence. Max finally said, "Dead. Or they ran so fast they never looked back." Eliza stood. "Tomorrow morning I'm going down that tunnel alone." "No way," Ava snapped. "If you're going, I'm going. You're not trained. I don't care. You're emotionally involved." "Exactly," Ava said, rising to her feet. "I loved her. And if there's even the slightest chance she's still down there..." Eliza hesitated, then nodded. "All right." At first light. Hours later, Eliza woke suddenly. Something had changed. The room was colder. She stood and walked to the front door. There, pinned to the wood with a small hunting knife, was a photo. It was Nicole, her face pale, her eyes wide. And behind her, barely visible, that same figure. Only now, it was closer. Much closer. And this time, it was looking straight at the camera. Ava sat on the porch steps, rain gently needling her hoodie, her eyes locked on the woods, as if Nicole might quietly reappear between the birch trees. Eliza stood behind her, arms folded. She didn't speak. At first. "When was the last time you and Nicole were here?" Eliza asked softly. Ava didn't turn. "Never. This was Max's idea. Said it used to belong to his great-uncle or something. Nicole didn't want to come." "Why?" "She said she had a weird dream about it, that she'd been here before." Eliza crouched beside her. "Did she tell you what happened in the dream?" Ava hesitated. "Not clearly, just children crying and water. She kept saying the cabin felt wrong." Inside, Liam sat at the kitchen table, flipping through an old photo album Eliza had found in a drawer. The photos were water-damaged and smelled like mildew. There were black and white pictures, people gathered by the same cabin decades ago. In the background of one photo, a little girl stood alone by the woods, her face scratched out. Max leaned on the counter, arms crossed. Creepy. But people used to be weird. It doesn't mean anything. Eliza walked in and placed Nicole's necklace on the table. "You sure you've never been here before, Max?" "Positive. But your name's in the deed registry. This land's in your family's name." He blinked. "Yeah, like I said. My great-uncle owned it. I never met him." Liam closed the album. "Wait, there's something I remember. Max, didn't your mom once say your uncle went missing up here?" Max rolled his eyes. "Yeah, in the 80s. Everyone just figured he wandered off drunk." "Your uncle's name was Charles Vinter, right?" Eliza asked. He nodded slowly. She opened her notebook. "Charles Vinter disappeared in 1984. So did a young girl named Elsie Harper, 7 years old, same weekend." Max's face darkened. "Okay, I didn't know that part." Liam whispered. "Was her face scratched?" "Out in that picture." No one answered. Eliza stepped to the cellar door again. The light flickered overhead, casting shifting shadows down the steps. "I want to check that tunnel again," she said. Ava stood up. "I'm coming with you." Eliza hesitated, then nodded. They descended together, their flashlight beams dancing against the stone walls. The tunnel was narrow, damp, and colder than before. The deeper they went, the more the air thickened. Not from dust, but from something else. Memory, maybe. Halfway through, Ava stopped. "What's that?" Eliza raised. Her light. Scratched into the wall was a single word, "Not alone." It was etched crudely, almost frantic. Then, another word. Lower, as if written by a child. "Stay." Eliza's voice was low. "Someone's been down here recently." They reached a wooden hatch. At the tunnel's end, it opened easily. Beyond it, a hidden room. Inside were broken toys, a stuffed rabbit missing an eye, a rusted tricycle, a tiny pair of shoes laid neatly side by side. There was a mattress on the floor and the faint smell of something old, stale and sweet like dried flowers or rot. Ava moved to the far wall. "Detective." There were drawings, just dozens of them, scribbled in charcoal or crayon. Always the same theme: a cabin, trees, a girl in a white dress, sometimes multiple figures with hollow faces standing near her, watching. Some of the drawings had names scrawled above them. One said Nicole, another said Elsie. Eliza felt a chill crawl up her spine. "We need to leave now." They made their way back up, both quiet. The rain outside had picked up, now steady against the cabin roof. Inside, Max was pacing. "I don't like this," he said. "I say we all just get out of here and call in more help." "Too late for that," Eliza replied. "Storms knocked out cell reception and we're not risking that trail in the dark." "Then what do you want us to do?" "I want you to tell the truth, Max," he stiffened. "I have—" "No, you haven't." She pulled out an old photo she'd found beneath the floorboard in the attic. It showed a family of 5 standing in front of the cabin. One of them was Max, a child version of him, unmistakable, 6 years old, standing next to his mother. "I've never been—" He stopped. Liam whispered, "Max." Eliza's voice was measured. "You were here as a kid. You knew Nicole would be drawn to this place." She kept talking about déjà vu, Ava said quietly. How she felt like the trees were watching her. Max's voice cracked. "It wasn't supposed to go this way." Everyone turned to him. "What does that mean?" Eliza asked. He looked down, trembling slightly. I came back to find out what happened. My mom never talked about it, but I remembered. I remembered the girl who lived under the floorboards." Silence. Liam's face had gone pale. "Max, what the hell are you talking about?" "She talked to me through the vents. When I was a kid, whispered stories at night, told me the others were still here hiding." "You brought us here knowing this?" Ava demanded. "I didn't know it would happen again. I thought maybe the place just messed with kids. I didn't think anyone would vanish." Eliza stepped forward. "Who is she, Max?" He looked up, eyes filled with something like guilt or maybe fear. "She said her name was Elsie." Thunder rolled in the distance, a slow, low growl. Then upstairs, a sound. Footsteps. Soft. Bare. Eliza drew her flashlight. Ava didn't wait. She ran to the staircase and called up, "Nicole?" No answer. Eliza held her hand up to stop her, then slowly climbed the stairs, her breath steady. The hallway above was dark except for the pulsing flash of a dying light bulb. Eliza moved toward the far room. The door was open. Inside, the attic ladder, down again. Fresh footprints, damp with mud. Led up, Eliza turned to Ava. "Stay here." But Ava shook her head. "No." Together they climbed. At the top, the attic was empty. except for a single new drawing nailed to the wall. It showed 5 people standing by the cabin, 4 with faces, 1 with none. The attic was silent, except for the soft tick of rain against the roof and the sound of Ava's breath, sharp and unsteady. Eliza stepped closer to the nailed drawing. Her flashlight beam caught the edges. 5 figures. 4 with faces. She recognized them immediately: Ava, Liam, herself, Max. The 5th, just a blank oval, no eyes, no mouth. The faceless one stood slightly apart near the trees. Ava whispered behind her, "It's not just a drawing." Eliza turned. "What do you mean?" Ava swallowed. "Nicole drew things like that. She said the woods kept showing her." Eliza studied the attic. Dust disturbed. Muddy footprints stopped in the far corner, where the boards were misaligned. She knelt, pressing gently against the warped planks. With a low creak, one lifted. Beneath, an opening. Not deep. Just enough space for a person to curl into. Empty. Except for a small item wrapped in a blue flannel shirt. Ava's voice cracked. "That's hers." Eliza carefully unwrapped it. A sketchbook. Nicole's. She flipped it open. Pages filled with quiet charcoal sketches. Trees bending. Shadowy figures, half submerged in the soil. On the last page, a single word: stay. Behind them, Liam's voice echoed from the bottom of the ladder. "You need to see this." They climbed down. Max stood at the hallway mirror, his face pale. "What's going on?" Eliza asked. Liam handed her something, a folded piece of yellowed paper pulled from behind a loose kitchen wall panel, a ledger. Names, dates, every 5 to 10 years. "Missing persons," Liam said, "always in this area, always kids, always during storms." At the bottom of the list, a final entry, 2024. Nicole S. Ava stared. "How could anyone know?" "They didn't," Liam whispered. "They just kept track." Max shook his head. "I didn't write that. I swear to God." "But you brought us here," Eliza said. "I told you," Max snapped. "I remembered the girl. The one who talked through the vents when I was little. She was nice to me. You said her name was Elsie. She said the others were watching her, that she couldn't leave, that she needed help." Ava stepped forward. "Help with what?" Max looked at her. "She said she was left behind." Eliza moved toward the basement again, this time without a word. Down the stairs, past the cellar, through the tunnel. She didn't hesitate. The toys, the drawings, the mattress. But now something new. A small handprint, wet, fresh, on the wall near the vent. Eliza knelt and touched the cold stone. "She never left," Ava whispered behind her. "Did she?" "No," Eliza said. A slow creaking sound came from above them. The cabin groaned. Max backed away, muttering, "No, no, no." Suddenly the lights flickered violently, then went dark. Complete silence. Then a faint voice through the vent. "She wouldn't leave me. I won't leave her." Ava froze. "That was Nicole," she said. They all listened, breathing. Then again, she stayed. So I did too. Max ran, back through the tunnel, up into the storm-lit house. Eliza followed faster this time, Liam and Ava close behind. Outside, Max stumbled into the rain, hands over his ears. "She's not gone," he kept saying. "She's not gone." Ava grabbed him. "Where is she, Max?" "I didn't do anything, I didn't..." But Eliza stepped between them. Then stop running. He shook his head. She talks to people, Eliza. She gets in your head. Just like she did with me, just like she did with Nicole. You were the only one who knew about the vents, Eliza said slowly. You knew what Nicole would hear. I thought maybe she could save her, Max said, breaking. I thought she could help her leave, but she wanted to stay. I saw it in her face that night. Ava stared at him. What night? The first night. Nicole went outside, said she needed air. I followed her. She stood at the tree line talking to someone I couldn't see, and you didn't stop her. I didn't think she was in danger, he cried. She smiled like she knew them. Eliza spoke calmly. And then she vanished. Max dropped to the ground. I didn't want anyone else to get hurt. Liam looked up at the cabin. Too late for that. Lightning cracked across the sky, and suddenly in the flash a figure stood at the tree line, a girl, soaked, still. Nicole. Ava bolted toward her before anyone could stop her. Nicole! She ran across the clearing, heart hammering. But as she neared, her pace slowed. Nicole stood barefoot in the mud, staring at her, unblinking, silent. Nicole, Ava said softly. Nicole tilted her head. I looked everywhere for you, Ava whispered. I didn't stop. Nicole's lips moved, barely. Ava took one more step, and in that moment Eliza's voice shouted behind her, Ava, don't! A cold wind tore through the clearing. Nicole stepped back, into the woods. Gone again. Ava dropped to her knees. Rain poured harder. Eliza approached quietly, placing a hand on her shoulder. She's not the same, Ava whispered. No, Eliza said. She stayed too long. They walked back to the cabin, together. By morning, the storm passed, but Nicole didn't come back. Not really. Not like before. 1 week later, the cabin was locked. Marked with warning tape, Eliza filed her final report. One confirmed missing, possible hallucination, case suspended until further evidence surfaces, but she kept the sketchbook. The last page changed again, just once. A new word appeared beneath the old, some stay longer.